Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dr. Petra's Science Mind class, and I am Reverend Karen Fry. I'm so happy that I get to sit in this seat. It's either Dr. Petra or Dr. Tracy Brown, and I get the pleasure of being with you all this morning. So I know exactly where Dr. Tracy left off last week in our Science of Mind textbook. Ryan is putting that in the chat and all that for everyone at home. So we are on page 75 in the Science of Mind textbook, and we're starting with the section called the Science of Mind. So if you think this is an important 3 paragraphs, you're absolutely right, and you're in the right place at the right time on the right day. All right, so let's get busy. Let's just jump in. The first 2 sentences are really profound, and we're going to break them all down, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to have questions. And he starts off, Dr. Holmes says, "Let us then approach the science of mind with awe, but not with fear, with a truly humble spirit, but not with any sense that we are unworthy, and certainly with no superstition." All right, so let's take that sentence. Let's approach it with awe. So I want you to think back to your days in science in school, and think back to science class, and what were some of the things when you started to learn about science that you were in awe about? Maybe it was even making your first paper airplane, and you were in awe that the thing actually flew. Or how about when you mixed 2 little elements together and it went poof, or made a volcano or whatever. And so Holmes is saying that's how we are to approach this science, and to approach it with awe and not to be afraid of it. Don't approach it with fear. He also says we have to be humble, and he's talking about that because we have to remember that it's actually not us alone doing the work, right? But we are the one that's picking. We get to pick. We get to choose, but we're not doing it alone. We're not the one solely on our shoulders making it happen. It's the law, the universal law. That's a capital L, law, that's making it happen. So, and then he also says to not approach this, and I think this is my challenge and every person I've ever met on this planet so far. You may be the exception, and I want to know if you are. But he says to not to approach it with the sense that we're unworthy. So we're spirit as us, and we're using the law, and we are worthy to use this law for the mere fact that we're here and that we're breathing. And have you ever walked up to a faucet and said, "I'm unworthy to receive this water"?
Not lately.
But are there times in your life where you actually start to question or wonder, am I worthy to receive this? Oh, I'm the only one? Okay, there are some head bobbins. Talk about it in the chat. So we don't. And to not approach it with superstition. And I think this is where this needs to be understood a little bit further. Because sometimes we do. There are things in our past, maybe it's the religion we grew up in, or what we were told, or what we hear in our culture, to approach this with superstition. Superstition comes into play when you actually don't understand that you're using a science. So you think it's actually something so special and so ethereal, and it is mystical, don't get me wrong. It is like beyond our own comprehension, this one universal life, but it's not to be approached with superstition. And when we understand that we are actually using a principle that we're using a spiritual law. We're using something that works every single time, just like when we use other things in our life, like an automobile, or when we use a lawnmower, or anything else, that we don't have to approach a lawnmower with superstition, or a car, or a toothbrush, or an airplane. I don't know how an airplane flies. I don't know how that big hunk of metal stays up in the air. But I don't approach getting on an airplane with superstition. There is certain mechanical laws, and someone else figured it out so that those planes, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, don't they, are able to stay up in air. So, and that this thing is actually based upon the way our thinking works, our brains work, the way we're actually created, and to understand that we are co-creating by picking and by choosing with this thing that we can approach in awe, and the science we can approach in awe. So, and that's really important, because we don't have to approach this with blind faith. We don't have to approach this because Karen says it works, or because you've heard some guru say something. Not that I am that. I am not. And, you know, we don't have to approach it with, okay, it worked this way. I was standing on my left leg and winking and holding my right arm up, and it worked. So the next time I better stand on my left leg and wink and hold my right arm up. A little superstitious, right? To make sure that it'll work again. No. That's not how this works. But it is up to each of us to find our own way through this. That's why you listen to Dr. Peter or Dr. Tracy or somebody else or me this morning, and then we have to find our own way and to understand, when I mix this and this, I'm going to get that. And everybody else who mixes this and this, I'm going to get that, because it's a science. So it's not emotionality. We like to think it is. It's not sentimentality, and it's not superstition. We're using a science. Okay, so I'm gonna stop. That was just sentence number 1, by the way. We're gonna break it down, but I'm gonna stop right there and say good morning to Ryan, because as we start to take some questions and have some comments, I want y'all to know how to interact with us this morning.
Absolutely. Well, good to have you here, world traveler. Love to see you, and good morning to everybody here in the room. Good to see you all as well, and grateful for all the people around the globe that are joining us today. We have an odd number of people on islands around the globe, which is really great. I'm seeing island this, island that, so I hope that you're having a fun time down at the beach this evening. And I want to let you know this is an engaging interaction, so I have a microphone here for those who are in the room. Just feel free to raise your hand. And for those who are joining us on Zoom, you can hit the raise your hand icon located down below, or you can always put your questions and comments inside of the chat, and I can bring that into the room. And the same goes true for everybody here on Facebook land. Please check in, say hello, and put your questions and comments in there as well. So would anybody like to speak here in the room or here online?
If not, I'm going to go to the second sentence, and then I'm going to ask you questions.
All
Anybody
right.
got a question? You can ask any question.
It looks like we're ready to go
All
to the
right.
second sentence.
Okay, here we go. So now let us approach it, he says, normally, happily, willing to accept it, glad to experiment with it, believing that as a result of our efforts, we shall derive this great good, a better understanding of the natural laws of life as they apply to the individual and his or her or their relationship to the universal scheme of things. Okay, so let's approach it happily. Well, isn't that maybe that's a new concept, like to really approach this happily. Like, so I'm so happy that I found this, that I'm able to start experimenting with this. I could have missed this bus and not discovered this, how the universal life actually works. He says to be willing to accept it. And what he's saying here is to accept that this is the way the universe works. Okay, so here's the thing. Most of us get in a trap that, no, you've got to prove to me that actually this is the way it works before I will start to work it. Then you don't ever start to work it because you're waiting for the proof. None of us has ever seen cause. God, spirit, life, anything else, right? None of us has ever seen it. So if you don't even believe that this is the way the universal law works, you could pretend that this is how the universe works. Just start there. Pretend that this is the way the universe works. And begin to experiment. And I see Ryan's hand, and I think we got a question or a comment.
Yeah, I see that Connie is here. Connie, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and join us?
Good morning, Reverend Karen, and good morning, everyone. So good to see you. I am learning how to honor my path in life and everybody's path in life. Everybody has different perspectives. And so I can't say that it's got to be like mine. No. I'm learning that I want to know more about their path and honor it and understand that they're doing what they're doing because that's what's best for them, for what they need to learn or whatever. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. That gives people room to experiment and to work it and to have their own perspectives and their own insights. Thank you, Connie. Got anybody else, Ryan?
Not online, but just polling here in the room. Anybody want to chime in or have a question?
Yes.
Oh, and we have a new assistant here today. Rockstar Patrick is helping us out.
All right, Patrick.
All right. Go ahead and say your name and ask your question or comment.
Okay, I'm Kate.
Hey, Kate.
I think for me the hardest part of this law is that it doesn't distinguish between what you are expecting and what you're wanting. And so when it doesn't work for me, I think is when I'm like, oh, I want this so bad. And so what do I get back? I get back the wanting it versus when I have expectations, then I get it back, if that makes sense. I've had things I've tried to manifest that I don't get. I'm like, well, this doesn't work at all. And then I look at my life, what I have created, and I'm like, oh, I expected all of this to come for me. This, let's say, winning the lottery, right? Like, oh, I really want to win the lottery. That would be so fun. I have not won the lottery yet. I have gotten lots of wanting to win the lottery. That's not the only example, but I guess that's something that I need more practice at, changing the wanting into the expecting.
Yeah, that's a really great point, and it's a good distinguishing point. And you're going to love my talk today, by the way. So yeah, there is a difference, and it may appear subtle, and it actually could be really dramatic. And all of this has to take place in only one place. No other place does it matter, and that's inside ourselves. Okay, so when Kate's saying wanting and expecting, it is this inside of me, inside of her, right? So there is a difference. It's like, yeah, when you expect the sun to come up in the morning, you just know. You just know. You expect it. The sun, like if the sun didn't come up in the morning, there is something really up, folks. Like we're all frozen or fried, I'm not sure. But you see, it would be like you would never think that the sun is not going to come up. You expect it. When you go over and hit a light switch, you expect that light to come on. You don't go, I wonder if it's going to come on. I want it to come on. I think it's going to come on, you see? And that has to take place, and it is a practice. And when one gets aligned, Ernest Holmes calls it full embodiment, like to embody it at the trillion cells within my body, soul, mind, spirit, right? When I've embodied health, it must, come in alignment. This is the space-time continuum, and then this is, the reality of life. And when those two hit, makes cross, doesn't it? When it hits, it's like bam, and it must. And so it's this, I expect. So you actually don't expect to win the lottery. See? She said no, right? So, why play? You may want to win it. You could play, and you're contributing to the pool, right? And so I expect to be able to travel around the world and thrive while doing it and be healthy. But if I have just mere desire or want, it's very, very different. And it's taken me 15 years, or 17 maybe now, I'd have to count, of studying this science of mind to really know the difference. And where's that place that I need to know that difference? Question? Inside. It's not what Darlene knows the differences between expect and want. It's only this within me. And be watching for it. And like you said, well, I expect that. And then it's there. I expect that. That is my reality. That is my reality. That is my reality. Guess what? The law mirrors back the reality. Really good. So we have to experiment with it. He's telling us to. So, again, back in science class, baking soda and whatever, and you got the volcano, and it was sort of weird. So you got to start experimenting with it. If you do this, this will happen. And, start to experiment. And here's the thing, you've got to experiment now, and you got to start little. That's why we start with parking places, to manifest parking places. I expect, try that. It's a full parking place, and right when you drive into the full parking place, how do you expect to get what I call rock star parking? I expect rock star parking. I don't need to know how, and I don't get anxious, and I don't get antsy, because the spot is already there for me. And lo and behold, someone pulls out right at the time that I'm ready, and I just take that rock star parking. Right? And we have to experiment now with little things, because we can't wait for a diagnosis, or we can't wait for something else that feels big. Right? You don't want to wait until you want to build a business. Thank goodness I have 15 years under my belt before building a business, right? You got to keep experimenting, and that's why we start with things. People think it's so material. No, we start with things because when the thing appears, it's proving to us that it works. And we get to build on that worked, and then there's another thing, and then we prove that it works, and then we have greater expectations, see? And then that keeps building, and then you can see it. And over time, Spirit doesn't know big or small, neither do you. And he says to get a better understanding of the natural laws of life. Okay, how do you do that? You got to study. It's the only way to get it, is to study. You've got to have the ground to stand on when the going gets rough, and the going is going to get rough. This is not something that, as you study the science of mind, you just don't have rough going. But you have the ground to stand on when the going get rough, if you understand how it works. So when he talks about the science of mind, and he says, the science of mind is then the study of life and the nature of the laws of thought. What do you think? Question. What does he mean by the study of life? The science of mind is a study of life. Different things that happen in life. How life works, nature, how does it all come together? How does it all work? These are things to contemplate. If the science of mind is a study of life, what is a study of life? Right? What is the nature of the laws of thought? What does that mean?
Life is a product of mind, so you have to understand mind to understand life in the first place.
We're going to give you a microphone. Ryan wants you to have a microphone.
Oh.
There it is.
Hi, I'm Nicole Bett. I have a microphone. So if life is a product of mind, then we must understand mind to understand life in the first place.
Yeah. And we're not talking about the brain. We're not talking about the human mind. We're talking about the MM mind, big M mind, mind, God, spirit thing. So it's to understand these nature of the laws of thought. There are laws of thought. Yes.
Well, I just wanted to mention some of the comments that came in for the
Yep.
same one too. And it says, observe, practice, experiment, repeat. Study of life is living life, having experiences. The evolution of consciousness. So there's a couple of them came in.
Yeah, that's great. Most of the time, if we pick up this book and we start to read it, we just read a sentence. The science of mind then is a study of life and the nature of laws of thought, the conception that we live in a spiritual universe, that God is in, through, around, and for us. But do we stop and really contemplate, but what is the study of life? If that's what this is, what is a study of life? What are the nature of the laws of thought? Have you ever just been with? I want you to be with, what does it mean that we live in a spiritual universe? Does that change where you come from or the perspective of, oh my God, I live in a spiritual universe? No matter what is going on in the world, I live in a spiritual universe. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Yes. Hey, let's get you a microphone.
My name is Ross. My sense of this is so complicated that no one's going to figure it out on their own. This has to be part of an ongoing conversation with other people who are looking at the same thing.
Yes. That's Ross, that's a great perspective. Yes, it is. It's pretty complicated. And Ernest Holmes says it's simple. It's actually quite simple. It's just hard to apply it. But I also don't want to put that on anyone. It may or may not be hard to apply it for you. But this is why we have communities like this. This is why CSLDallas exists, so that we can. We are all, at least, if you come here and you stick around, then you've decided that you want to study this. You want to study the science of mind and what can it do for your life? What can it do? Because if it does something for my life, it's going to do something for everyone's life. Because there's only one life. and for us to talk about this and to go deeper in it and to practice it. And when we fall off, have someone remind us, you are worthy. You know, all of this. And it is quite heady, complicated, and mystical and mysterious, and it's all of that.
You know, part of this expectation and have it show up, I've been experiencing that as some sort of mystical thinking for about 40 years. I've never heard of it as a law before.
Right.
And so I could tell the what, but the how absolutely eluded me. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Makes total sense. And so to understand that it is a law, a universal law, what that tells us is, what we learn in classes is that, first of all, it's impersonal. It's impersonal, okay? So it doesn't matter who and what you are and who and what you do with the law, okay? It's impersonal. The law cannot say, nope. It can't. And so it can be used for good or for not, just like a match can. A match can make us warm, and a match can burn the whole forest down, right? And so it's impersonal. But a law, just like the law of mathematics, it's always there, it's always present, there's no end to it. Everybody could have 2 + 2 = 4 right now in 8 billion places, right now. And we didn't think of 2 + 2 = 4, but yet right now, everybody has 2 + 2, and it's not, no one's left out, right? It's that the laws of mathematics. They're always present, they're always there. And so when one understands this is a law, then what it helped me, it took me a while to get there, but once I did, I went, wow, I don't really need to know how. However, here's the rub, and this is very important. Peter and I were talking about this. We were up at our cabin. She's still there this week. And we bought the cabin, and it was furnished, and, you know, things in a shed and all that stuff, and we had a lawnmower. We got a lawnmower with the cabin. It was really cool. And we just have a little baby patch of grass, and we're mowing the grass. Okay. This year, we're there, and we want to mow the grass. We can't start the lawnmower. Neither one of us could start the lawnmower. It's a gas lawnmower. We feel like now we're maybe not strong enough to pull it. We pumped it. We knew to prime it, like poop, poop, poop on the bulb 3 times, pull the lawnmower. Wouldn't start. So she puts out an email to our neighbors and say, anybody want a gas-powered lawnmower? Because we're going to buy an electric one. And guy says, hey, I want it. My neighbor comes by. He was like, hey. I said, yeah, it worked for me last year, or in April of this year, but we can't get it to start. He said, oh, okay. And he goes, he didn't do it 3 times. He went 6 times. Prime, 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 prime. But then he did something I didn't do. He flipped a choke. And it went, boom. And I went, oh, shit. I thought, my first response was, well, I'm stupid. You know what? I didn't know choke. I'd forgotten, 3 years ago that the little cable on the choke had broken, and there's a little choke over there. And I don't have to know everything about how a lawnmower works, but he knew one more thing than I did about lawnmower. But he's been around all kinds of gas engines, farm equipment, right? And so I let him take off the gas. I didn't keep it. We just said, yeah, you can still have it. We're going to get an electric one for the planet. But this is how it works. We don't have to understand how.
Good.
No, you don't. And it's very important to know that. We don't have to understand all of how it works, but you do have to understand enough, like you do your automobile, to drive it. I have to understand enough about the lawnmower to start it. But I don't have to be the mechanic on the lawnmower, and I don't have to be the mechanic on the automobile. And that's what's important. You just have to know enough. And the way you learn to do that, honestly, is in classes.
Is the bottom line here, a congruent belief in the expectation?
Well, there's all kinds of bottom lines, but that's actually a really good one. If you don't fully believe yet that this is the way life works and the universal laws work, then are you willing to put on the belief that this could be the way that it works? And so I'm going to believe that this is the way it's going to work. And I'm just going to start using it. And one has to start practicing and using it, or it's just another book. It's just another thing that we're learning and not putting to use in our life.
This is remarkably exciting to do this as a discipline as opposed to hit and miss.
Oh yeah, it's a everyday, lifelong discipline to practice. I think Darlene had something.
I'm Darlene. I've been coming to classes now, and what I decided to do lately is the law works. I don't need to see it. I don't need to understand it all. I've begun to accept the fact that right here, right now, whatever I'm doing, it works. The law works. What I've been practicing is this thing that I've been expecting. I said I want 5 income streams. And I've been expecting that. And it's been showing up. But I'm also now working on how I'm behaving, how I'm feeling, waiting for what already is to show up.
If it's already here, do you wait?
I mean, it's there. It's there. And so I've been focused on, okay, if you believe it's there and you're whatever, how are you enjoying life? How are you living life? I stopped waiting on the miracle of the big, ginormous thing, and because there's no little or no big, and just right now, right here, I am. Right now, right here, I am, because the law has to work however I'm working it. Right now.
And so you taking that new stance of you don't have to know how it works, just that it does work, that the law works, and you keep expecting it and affirming it. How have you seen a difference?
Yes, I have more joy. I have more peace. I have the knowing. I woke up Monday morning and I'm expecting income, and Monday morning, oh, Darlene, we do merit increases. Here's some more money. Okay, and
when that happened, and you got that money, what happened inside of Darlene?
I know it. It's supposed to be. I'm supposed to have it. It wasn't a, wow, they noticed me. It's supposed to happen. And I think the more that I walk around in the world like that, that it's not a miracle that these things are happening. It's supposed to be like that because of who I am, and because of I'm that extension of this showing up. Is how I choose for it to make sense to me. Because one thing I'm beginning to accept that Ernest Holmes says is, this is really simple. It's really not complicated when I begin to see how it is, because I am it. I am consciousness. And I think one of the things that has been the hardest thing to accept is we are consciousness. We are the stuff.
We are
that
the
it
God
is.
stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you've made the shift. And that's actually a significant shift. Like, I don't need to know the how. I don't need to know how this works. Again, if I need to know how an airplane works completely before I get on one, it's how long is it going to be before I ride an airplane? It's going to be a long time, right? But if I know, I don't need to know how the airplane works. I just know that it does work. then I get the enjoyment of said airplane ride and where it takes me, right? I don't need to know how water comes out of my faucet every single time. I have a little idea, and there are pipes and this and that, but you know what? I'm not a plumber. I don't have to be. I don't know how the light comes on every time I flip a switch. I don't understand all of that, right? And so, but again, one can use these kind of things like, well, but I expect the water to come out of my faucet. I expect the light to come on. I expect the sun to come up. It's just the way it works. And this includes all these, quote, seeming miracles when it's actually the way it works. Then we've helped to produce one more person that says this stuff really works. You ought to try it. Just like anybody else would, like face cream. This stuff really works. You ought to try it. Okay. Well, what's it made of? How does it work? I don't know. It just works.
It's Ross again. I promise not to monopolize the conversation. I had a shocking event happen last Friday. I meditate and I journal. And so just for the fun of it, I went back to November 21st, 2021, and looked at the issues I was facing and my solutions. And I said, oh my God, I haven't changed at all. These are the same issues I'm dealing with the same solutions that don't work. I'm going, I need a fresh take on this. The issues aren't what's going on, something deeper. And I think this is it. It's just expectations and congruent expectations. I'm in. I'll try it.
All right. Good, Ross. Yes.
We got Patrick on his feet today.
Hey, it's Nicole Bett. So I'm kind of wondering your take on, well, okay, let me start this way. I eat pizzas on Friday for good luck. Pizza on Friday for good luck. I've run the experiments. It works for me. I don't know how it works. It probably unlocks something in me psychologically. It's psychosomatic. It's neurologic. But for some reason, if I eat pizza on Friday, I'm going to have a great day. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I can't run those experiments for you. If you have certain food intolerances, it's probably not going to work for you. But it does work for me. And I call it a superstition. I tell people I have a superstition that I'll have good luck if I eat pizza on Friday. But it's not. It really is a science. It really does. I have some theories about what it unlocks in me and how it works for me. I don't want to have that discussion. I'm a little bit lazy and I've got places to be. I would like to just say, yeah, I've got a superstition and just leave it at that. But am I maybe depriving people of a very important discussion that could be life-changing for them by just dismissing the issue in that way?
Well, pizza on Fridays. Well, I think you said something important, and that is, and is this a true thing? You eat pizza on Friday?
I try to. I have really good days.
I just wonder if this is just you threw a...
No, this is not one of my hypotheticals.
Okay. So I think what you've really, there is something that by eating pizza on Friday, what it allows your subconscious and your conscious mind to do is to come in alignment that because of me doing this act, then I have a great day. And you so believe it, and you're so clear on it that because you do this, then of course you expect to have a great day, you believe you're going to have a great day, that you have a great day. I would not call that a superstition. And it's just the methodology is pizza. That's just the vehicle. Pizza. You could change pizza to salad, just like that if you wanted to. And I'm just using another example. And you could salad if you have the same belief and the same expectation that you're going to have a great day if I eat salad. Then that too is going to work. And if it's a superstition, it wouldn't. But the science is in that belief, in that expectancy, in that embodiment of pizza, great day. See, that's the embodiment. It's not about the pizza. You could let go of the pizza. Let's say all of a sudden you are lactose intolerant and you have to let it go. You could let go of pizza as long as you have that expectancy. I wake up on a Friday, great day. Every Friday is a great day. And pizza's out of the picture. So, yeah, and that's why Ernest Holmes talks about this, about superstition, because we tend to call it, we're superstitious about things instead of actually embracing that this is just the way it works. Yes?
So, are you saying that having an expectancy is not a form of waiting?
Can you repeat that?
This is Darlene. Having an expectation is not a form of waiting?
Well, it can or cannot be. So let me give you a great example. And it's important. You can expect and still wait, and you can expect and not. If you and I have a conversation and you say, Karen, I want you to come over Saturday at 7 to my house. Okay. And you know who I am, and I say, I promise, I'm going to be at your house Saturday at 7. Okay? It's a week before. And you know me, and you fully expect me to walk through your door at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Do you ever wait on me to do that? Throughout the whole week, are you waiting on Karen to walk through the door? If you fully know that I'm coming to your house Saturday at 7 p.m., do you wait on me?
I think so.
I wouldn't.
I think so. I mean, I can have
Wait.
I can have that expectation of I can't wait for Karen to walk.
That's correct, but are you
But
waiting on me? Are you checking on it? Are you calling me on Monday and saying, hey, you still coming on Saturday at 7? How about Wednesday? Are you going, I don't know that she's coming. I'm expecting her to come, but I need to touch in again. The week still look good. Are you still coming Saturday at 7? You see? And then, so yes, it's subtle. Yes, quote, you're waiting because the space-time continuum, which is made up anyway, has not caught up to it yet. But you're not sitting around and waiting. And if Karen doesn't walk through that door Saturday at 7 p.m. because of that great expectation or whatever, then you know something really big has happened in my life. Something, But I'm walking through the door at 7 p.m. And this is the experimentation that we each have to get to. If it's, I travel around the world and thrive while doing it with my camera in my hand. I mean, that's what I expect. And I fall off that. I fall off of it, folks. You're going to hear about it today. I fall off of it all the time. There's things that happen. Oh, well, what if all of a sudden no one can get on an airplane? But I expect. And so this is such a key point to ask yourself this question. Do I wait? We have to come to that full embodiment inside ourselves that I expect the sun to come up. I don't question it. But I might fall off sometimes and wonder. So I'm going to wrap up, but we didn't even get through the thing. But what is the study of life, the natures of law of thought? We live in a spiritual universe, and that there is nothing supernatural anywhere. So look at these 3 paragraphs on page 75, because it's all about this thing that we're studying and putting to practice in our life. It's called the science of mind. And it's an important 3 paragraphs right here in the middle of the beginning of this book. So we'll see you in the sanctuary, joining our celebration of life. Today, mountain, move out of the way. See you there.